All right, welcome back to the World Wide Wicket company. So, as we're both aware, we still have your signature that you agreed to be video recorded for the purposes of conducting this interview and only for business purposes. However, here we go. Sorry about that. So we do need you to sign again. Here we go. So we do need you to sign again regarding this interview. And so if you wouldn't mind, let me get you a better pen than last time. No, that's not a pen. I usually have a pen here. Is that a pen? Come on, is that a pen? Here we go. There we go, that's a pen. All right, so please sign again that you are willing to have this interview conducted and be recorded for the purposes of interviewing with the World Wide Wicket company. We're gonna speed this along a little bit. Since the last interview, we really didn't get very far into any information about you, and not even all of the information about the World Wide Wicket company that I usually go over, but we're going to try and do this extra fast so that we can get through some of the second interview questions as well. We're going to try and speed this all along. So are you done? All right, great. And can you verbally consent to having this interview filmed and typed and recorded? Perfect. All right. So right into this, what interested you about this position? Yes, we are on the first floor. We're not at the fourth floor. Again, that was not supposed to have happened. I'm not usually supposed to be conducting interviews in the fourth floor to begin with. Well, that is, it's not relevant to this interview. It's a great question, and we love your curiosity. Keep asking questions, but I cannot disclose that information at this time. That is private, proprietary information regarding the World Wide Wicket company. No, with the mid-level assistant production agent manager position, you would not have authorization and access to that information regarding what occurred on those non-fourth floor floors. Right. Yes, that is, it doesn't happen regularly and it shouldn't happen today. So we should not have any problems or concerns regarding that. What interested you in the position of the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position here at the World Wide Wicket company? Right. That's a little off topic. And I see that you're really kind of fixated on the secret entrance, right? And why we have that. Well, it's in regards to safety procedure and our EMP. So in case of something catastrophic occurring and both the stairs and the fire are inaccessible, we have that as a third option. Right. Yes, that is exactly what I mean. Perfect. All right, so we can move on. What about the World Wide Wicket company makes you want to work here? Okay, I know it's cool that we have a third secret exit entrance thing, primarily exit for obvious reasons. And anyway, I'm really glad that you enjoyed that it was a new experience for you. However, that is not a reason to work here. What about the World Wide Wicket company makes you want to work here daily? Because no one should be using that. That is a last resort kind of thing. All right, perfect. And what are you excited to do here that you are passionate about? Mm-hmm. All right, you're already going into other questions. I love that. Keep going. That is very specific, and it's not exactly what you would be doing here as the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager. However, you would be doing great communication skills and inferring information and redirecting it to the responsible people. And I'm very happy that you know how to send emails. So many of our employees are technologically advanced in particular areas, and they like to use different modes of communication, such as Slack, WhatsApp, Teams. Not all of them are comfortable with email, especially since we have multiple emails that are provided by the company. Well, some people are more comfortable with a Gmail kind of email, and other people are more comfortable with a Microsoft based email. So they'll have like a Microsoft Office Suite email, and some people are still unfortunately using AOL. It's just a wide range of different kinds of people, and some people don't like to use any of them. So we then allow them to use their own email and make that a company authorized email. Well, they'll like find one of those like third party email sources, sort of like Ymail. No, that's the name of the email sort. The email company is called Ymail instead of Gmail. It'll say like Ymail in their address. No, that's not a question of why mail. It's an actual just the letter Y, right? And we do have a mail room here. We don't use it often. I mean, we have like 2 people there, right? No, we're not hiring for the mailroom. We're hiring for the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position. But if you're interested in working in the mailroom, I can document that. And if a position opens up, we will reach out to you first. What does your ideal job look like? That's a very funny answer. What is your realistic ideal job look like? So then what was the reason for leaving your previous job? Do you want to elaborate on that at all, or is that just all you want to say about that? Okay. And would you consider yourself a risk taker? Why? So, did you get caught? So why did you do that? So when you said burnout, you actually meant That's fascinating. Some real kind of supervillain attitudes there. Well, I mean, it's a revenge story. That was your motivation for doing that. Right, but John Wick is not a superhero necessarily. He's kind of an anti-hero and is not. I would not model my behavior after John Wick. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't use Rambo as a good example either. I think we've gotten off topic. Do you value time more than money in your personal life? So, how do you manage being under pressure with tight deadlines? Hold on, sorry, I gotta check this. No, it's not a personal thing. It's a work related thing. Someone is trying to do something that they shouldn't be doing. Well, we're in the middle of interviewing candidates, and someone wants to send a rejection letter to a candidate, but it is our company policy to not send any rejection letters until after the position has been filled. Why? Because for all we know, we may need to actually refer to that candidate resume and actually hire them for this position if our main target person does not accept the position, or if we're unable to find the perfect fit quality that we're looking for, we might double back down to someone else. Well, that would be illegal. Okay, so the way you're saying it isn't illegal, but in reality, it could open up a lawsuit of them saying that we didn't hire them because of something else. And so then we would have to prove through our documentation, such as what the interviewer typed and what they recorded, for why they did not hire that person. So it's a lot of information, a lot of time wasted when it could have all been prevented from sending out rejection notes. No, our rejection letters are standard. They're company policy. They're very formally written. They do not have any actual information about the person in the rejection letter. Of course, it has their name, but it doesn't have like what they did in the interview. Right, because that's confidential information of the interview. So it's... Hold on, I need to finish this. Just a minute. They keep double texting me. Okay, that should take care of that. What were we talking about? Right. The rejection letter is very formulaic and very professional and very standard. We don't put in any specific information in there because we don't want it coming back to us. And right, but it's a whole thing. Well, we want to prevent a lawsuit for something that isn't an issue. Right. Well, we know that we're not going to hire this candidate, but we can't let that candidate know that we're not going to hire that candidate unless we have an absolute reason for rejecting that candidate, which we do not, which is why I had to inform them to not send a rejection letter. Right. Yeah, so some of our candidates are in this infinite limbo until we fill the position. Well, normally the position is open for about 1 to 2 months. In the case, though, however, for this mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position, it has been open for close to 2 years. Right, as I said, we're very particular and specific about the unique kind of person that we're looking to fill this position. We are looking for someone who, as mentioned in the job description, is excellent with attention to detail and time management and communication and use of technology for communication purposes. No, we're looking for a more organic approach versus relying solely on technology to communicate for us. Hence the purposes of the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager to be able to relay information and to coordinate between different types of personalities. So that brings me to my next question. How do you deal with communicating with different types of personalities? All right. And what happens if they're really a complicated individual or a troublesome personality? What do you think I'm trying to say when I say troublesome personality? What if it's someone that has a very specific, diverse perspective? Let's say it's one that is polarizing and is very contrary to what you feel. Okay, that's one way to say it, but that's not exactly the appropriate professional language we'd want to use for that. But let's say that is the kind of person that we're talking about. Killing them with kindness is an interesting term, especially with the example of risk-taking that you provided earlier. Could you give an example of how you try to kill them with kindness? That started off really sweet and very nice and professional. And then that last thing you said verged on slightly illegal. We're just slightly concerned about that. Could you elaborate on that so I don't have to actually type that down? Because I really don't want to type that down. Thank you. Okay, that was my misunderstanding there. Now, you see, some of your language choices are fascinating. For example, you keep saying lair instead of home. Are they two different things, or are you just sort of like a dragon, comfortable, so comfortable in your place of residence that you like to describe it as your lair? They are two separate places. Okay. That's interesting. What's the purpose of your lair? You see, the kinds of things like that make it sound like you're more suitable possibly to our R&D department than our production department. Well, as a mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position, you are still part of the production department. That is in the job description, but I can understand the confusion of that. Okay, I think I just have a few more questions for today, and then we can wrap this up and be out on a relatively normal amount of time. if that's all right with you. Okay, just a few more questions. All right. How do you handle working with a... You know what? I'm going to skip that question. I really don't want to know what your answer to that is. What is the worst thing that a coworker did? Was that in retaliation of what you did before? All right, and can you tell me about a specific time when you made a mistake? And okay, what is your 5-year plan? Well, look at the time. I think that's all we have for today. Thank you so much. You should hear back from us in a couple of days. As I mentioned, we have many candidates that are interviewing for this position. We will either receive an email. You will either receive an email from me or a phone call. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email. I know the feeling that as soon as the interview is over and finished, that you suddenly have a question and I forgot to ask them that. So please feel free to email me any questions. And if you could, again, fill out that survey on your way out and leave a comment at the front desk, we would greatly appreciate that. And thank you again for your time today. And I hope you and all of yours are safe and protected and don't have any more for those issues. So thank you again and have a great week. Please do not use the secret exit. Please leave out the front door. Thank you. Bye.